What's going on, guys? I'm just doing a more in-depth video on my modified flysky i6 controller that I use for my trail trucks and custom RC vehicles. This controller has been modified for ground use. You can no longer use it for aircraft because the gimbals have been modified. So this is just a dedicated controller just for ground use. Now, the reason why I am running a flysky i6 in the first place is because they're stupid cheap. This is the only controller that I know of that you can actually get a true independent 10 channels and do whatever you want with those 10 channels on a radio that's still under $100. Now, my pricing isn't Canadian because I am Canadian and I live in Canada. But the website that I do use, I will show you. And yes, they do have it in US prices and everything. But all the pricing that I do say, it is in Canadian. It is cheaper for you guys in the US. But, so, we'll talk about the controller. It's a stock. It's a flysky i6 that is 6 channels. Now, yes, it's 6 channels out of the box. But yes, it can be reprogrammed for 10 channels. So, for the controller, we'll go to the website. This website is called bangoods.com. As you can see, the flysky i6 controller is under $50. Then the next thing you're going to need is this data cable, which is $5. Flysky data cable USB for downloading for the flysky i6, as you can see, for firmware updates. Now, the nice thing is, flysky now released an actual i6 controller, which is already programmed for 10 channels. I haven't bought one myself, so I don't know if it's got the same firmware or not. But it doesn't make a big deal because you can always just get this cable and then put the firmware into it. Now, the one I'm talking about is this one here, which is $64.13 already programmed. It's the flysky i6X, which is fully 10 channels, but it does not come with a 10 channel receiver. Now, 10 channel receiver is this one here, which is only under $25, $23.21. This is an actual true flysky 10 channel receiver, which is the FS IA10. So that is the receiver that will give you the true 10 channels, which is this receiver right here. As you can see, full 10 channels. So as you can see with the pricing, this controller is dirt cheap, way under $100. Even with the shipping and everything, it's still under $100. So you cannot beat the price. Now, for you guys that think this is going to be something really hard to do or something like that to do the reprogramming, it's actually extremely easy. Before I even knew about this, I was on YouTube, and that's how I stumbled across this controller. So I went to a YouTube video, which is this one right here. Okay. I went to that one, and he's got the actual link in his actual thing. So here's the firmware link, and this is the link for the USB cable that I showed you guys. So you click on this link, right? And it comes to this page. And if you scroll down, at the top of the page is right there. 10 channel i6 uploader. So you just click on that. And as you can see, everything is in here. How to do it. You can ignore all this stuff and everything. All you need is the software. So you just click on this. And there you go. This thing will come up. Like, this will be the program that uses it. Make sure you put the right COM port on it, like serial, with the, so whatever the USB one is, and you just open up. The software that you want, and you just go to program, and it'll just program it and does it automatically. But if you watch the YouTube video, this guy explains exactly everything you need to do to program this controller. It took me a total of 5 minutes to program this controller. After it's been programmed, if you want to modify it like I have, I can show you. So there you go. Controller's already done. As you can see, there's 2 extra switches up here. The reason those switches are there is because the channels that used to be in here, that used to be 2 channels here and 2 channels here, are no longer. It's only 1 channel each gimbal now. So this one's throttled now permanently, which is channel 3. Channel 4 is totally gone. It's been locked out. Right? It's up here now. Same here. Steering, left and right, which is channel 1. Up and down, which is channel 2. It's no longer there. It's actually been locked out. It's up here now. Here is another one of my controllers, which is the same exact controller, but I took it apart to show you. So there's the 2 switches up top and how I did it. So what I did, we'll start on the steering side. So this is channel 1, as you can see, and channel 2 has been locked out. I used shoe goo to lock out channel 2. That's all I did. And then the other thing is, as you can see here, there's a potentiometer right here. I just took the circuit board off of the potentiometer, and I ran the connections that were on that potentiometer, and I extended them out. So 1, 2, and 3. And I put them to the switch. So center to center, and then exterior, and then outer to outer. Always remember that. The center wire always goes to the center of the switch. But not just that, you need resistors. You need 2 small resistors that are the same resistor. You can't use 2 mismatched resistors. They have to be the same resistor. It doesn't matter the ohms or anything like that. As long as they're nice and small like this, that's all that matters. So you solder them together. One end gets soldered together like this, and then one end of the resistor goes to the outside of the switch connection, and the other one goes to the other side, the outside connection of the switch. Then the 2 that are soldered together, you can run it just like this. I ran a piece of wire and I ran it to the center of the switch. What this does is when you put the switch in the center, it lets the controller know that that's center, because this is just an on and off switch, right? So there's no connection in the center, so that will actually let it center. So when you turn the switch and put it in the center, it puts the servo back to center, or your speed controller back to neutral, or whatever you have hooked up. So you have to do it to the same to both sides. So that's all it is. It's just, as you can see, the little circuit board that used to be wired to the potentiometer. Extend it out, and then there you go. Same with those resistors again, as you can see, and there you go. Now, these dials here are potentiometers. If you do not need potentiometers, you can remove these and put 3-position switches in, just like this. It's the same process as doing these switches in here. The center wire goes to the center of the switch, and then you got to make sure there's some resistors. Or if you, let's say you want 4 dials, same thing. You just put these dials on these switches, but instead you don't need resistors, because what potentiometers are adjustable resistors. So it's that simple. These switches here, this one here cannot be changed because it's just an on and off switch for that channel. Same with these 2 here. They're just on and off switches for those channels. But this one here that has 3 wires, you could put a dial on that if you wanted to, because that's a 3-position. So you could put a potentiometer on it on here if you wanted to. So this controller can be set up variable different ways. If you have any questions, just let me know. I can always answer them for you. So that's how these controllers are made. That's how they're set up, and that's how I set them up. Again, they're the cheapest controller out there that will give you 10 channels. I haven't seen anything cheaper, which has been amazing. Now I'll show you this controller actually working on my one rig. So there you go. So it's on, and this is, if you guys have been following my channel, you guys know that this is Project Chevy 2-door. So turn it on. Actually, I'll fully turn it on. So here's the controller. So throttle. Now, like I said, that's channel 3. So in the receiver, channel 3 is hooked up for the throttle. Channel 1 is steering. So there's my... And then my diff lockers. So this is channel 5 and this is channel 6. So here you go. And then up here is channel 4, which controls my 2-speed. Now this switch is a 3-position, but I use it as a 2-position for the 2-speed. So as long as you just go like that. But as you can see, if I center it, it just goes to center. But yeah. The only downside about this controller is channel 7 to 10 has no endpoint adjustments. So it doesn't have any adjustability for endpoints. But from channel 1 to channel 6, there is endpoint adjustment. So I'm hoping maybe down the road, whoever rewrote the programming for this will actually add endpoint adjustment for channel 7 to 10. So all 10 channels will have endpoint adjustments, because that will make this the most ultimate controller for any type of custom RC build, which would be amazing. That's the only complaint I have for this controller. That's it. Like I said, it's super cheap. So if I'm in the trails and I drop my controller, oh well, I'm not gonna cry about it, because I'd rather drop this $50 controller than a $200, $300 Spectral controller, or Futaba controller or something like that. So, where else are you gonna get 10 channels that will give you that much stuff? Now here's the other nice cool thing about this controller: the array of different receivers that you can use on this thing. So I was talking about the 10 channel one, which is the FSIA10, full 10 channels. This is the FSIA6B, which is a 6 channel. It does have telemetry. So, but I don't use it. I just use it for a regular 6 channel. This is the actual receiver that came stock with this controller. It comes with its stock. So the price that I showed you, which was like under $50, was with no receiver. I think it's like $10 more. It comes with the 6 channel receiver. And then other receivers that you can get are like these ones here. So any of the FlySky aircraft receivers will actually work with this controller, which is nice. So there's this one here, which is another FlySky receiver, which is 8 channels. When it comes original, it comes like this, with all these servo ends on the end of it. These are used more for like drones and that, but I like them because they're super small, as you can see. And I just made a little servo plug lead. This one here is for my one custom RC, which is this one here. Because it has a full interior steering wheel, the steering wheel works on it and everything. So I needed 2 ports for channel 1. I needed one for the BC. I needed to separate it. Like, I needed to be able to configure it a certain way. So that's why I made it this way. So it works nice. So all my servo plugs will plug into this, and boom, there you go. Now, I have my other project, which is Project Crew Cab, that you guys know about, which is underneath everything here, underneath that other body. That one's getting a full interior, and the downside about that one is I don't have a lot of space in that truck. So this is the actual receiver for that truck. This is another receiver, which is a FlySky receiver, which is 8 channels. Nice and small. So I'm going to build a full out custom circuit board with this receiver on it, and it will take up a 1" by 1" space up front of the truck, so which is perfect. So all the things will plug into that circuit board, all the light controllers, everything else, whatever I need will plug into that circuit board, and this will be actually adapted into that circuit board. So this is going to be a full custom circuit board that I'm building for that truck. So it works everything. So, which is sweet because I have not that much space at all. It's very, very hard to actually get space, and that's why I like this. Super, super amazing by flysky. And this receiver here is like $10. That's it. All these receivers are not that much. This is probably the most expensive receiver out of all of them, and it's $25. That's it. $25. This one here, I think it's like $12. These ones here, $15 each. Again, this one, $10. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with this controller at all. Out of all the controllers I've used a lot of controllers, and I built a lot of custom controllers. This here, by far, is the best controller for a custom vehicle. Can't go wrong with it at all. It's got my approval. I love it. As you can see, I have 2 here. I'm ordering 2 more because I'm going to be configuring them totally different from these ones. But yeah, like, again, hands down, awesome controller. flysky, you did a good job. I'm so happy that you guys have open software so you guys can mess around with the software and play with it and change it all around and everything. One of the best controllers I ever had. Glad you liked this video. Well, I hope you liked this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You know, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions and go from there. All right, guys. See you guys later.